Hello there guys, welcome back again here to my YouTube channel, and today's video I'll be sharing you some tips on how to improve your ignore defense so you can penetrate your enemy's physical defense effectively. But first, let's talk about understanding ignore defense. So ignore defense is crucial stats that allows you to bypass a portion of your enemy's physical defense, making your attack more effective. So the higher your ignore defense, the more of your enemy's defense you can ignore. But before we get started, I just want to give you a heads up that I'm still providing pilot services, discounted top-up. If you are interested, you can message me on my Discord channel. I will put a link on the description below. And also hit the like button so this video reaches out to new people. And also hit the subscribe button so you can be updated on my latest uploads. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, before we dive into today's video on improving your ignore defense, I highly recommend checking out my video titled Don't Play Doram Until You Watch This Video. In that video, I show detailed charts and computation on how ignore Pdef affects your build. This will give you a solid foundation on better understanding of the mechanics we're discussing today. So make sure to watch that first and then come back here to learn how to maximize your ignore defense. Now let's get started. Alright, let's get into the first source of ignore Pdef, which is the feathers. The feathers that provide the highest amount of ignore Pdef are the space, time, day, and sky. Number one is the space feather. The stats of that is ignore Pdef, PvP damage bonus, and physical attack. This feather is highly beneficial for players who engage in PvP battle as it boosts both ignore Pdef and PvP damage. Second is the time feather. It improves your ignore Pdef, PvE damage bonus, and physical attack. Ideal for PvE scenario, the time feathers help you bypass enemy defense while increasing your overall damage output against monsters. Third on our list is the sky feather. The sky feather is versatile and effective, especially since you can obtain it for free by completing daily tasks and dismantling other feathers. It's a great option if you can afford the more expensive light and dark feathers, plus you can maximize its stats by increasing the overall percentage of your feather stats. Lastly, we do have day feather. The stats of this one is ignore Pdef and PvE damage bonus. This feather enhances your PvE performance by increasing both ignore Pdef and damage against monster, making it easier to defeat high defense enemies. Just make sure to prioritize obtaining and upgrading these feathers to maximize your ignore Pdef. This will significantly enhance your combat effectiveness and help you tackle tougher opponents with ease. Now, for the main question, is it really advisable to use this feather? So let's break it down, no? So first, the light and dark feathers. Advantages of light and dark feathers significantly boost PvP damage bonus, which is crucial for higher tier players, which is nasa 700 bracket pataas, where opponent often use dark and light feathers. These players needs to maximize PvP damage bonus and reduction to compete effectively in the current meta. Now, let's talk about mid-range players, no? Most of our opponent at this level uses Sky, Terra, Divine, Purple feathers, with only few using dark and light feathers for defense. So since most of your target have high Pdef, prioritizing ignore Pdef is more beneficial than maximizing your PvP damage alone. So the best approach is balancing ignore Pdef with your overall damage output will ensure you can effectively counter the high Pdef of your opponent. So ano yung conclusion natin, no? For mid-range players, it's more advisable to use feathers that boost ignore Pdef like space, time, day, and sky. This strategy allows you to effectively penetrate the high Pdef of your opponent's gear. Light feathers or light and dark feathers are best reserved for high tier players who need to maximize PvP damage bonus against similar equipped foes. So by focusing on ignore Pdef, you will improve your combat effectively against the most common types of gear you'll encounter on your bracket. So in simple terms here, what I'm saying, don't aim to fight against much higher tier players if you're a physical type. This game is designed to favor support types like Archbishop, Royal Guard in terms of defense. And for Warlocks, they don't have any problem because it's really hard to get magic defense, and their ignore magic defense is really high. So all you need to do is focus on PvP damage bonus. So that's why Warlock is overpowered. And if you want to be a DPS player, you'll need to invest heavily to be competitive, especially for those players who are using physical types. Moving on to another source of Ignore Pdef is the Sacred of Libra. I know some of you might be focusing on getting random purple stats just to increase your battle power, but please don't do that, and here is my advice. Before moving on to other stats, ensure you have sufficient Pdef and Ignore Pdef. These stats are crucial for your current battles, especially in PvP events. By focusing on the necessary stats first, you make your character more effective in the short term, allowing you to perform better in ongoing events, especially guild leagues, dimension drills. So many of our current events are PvP oriented. So having the right stats will give you a significant advantage over your opponents. Next is maybe assess your current build and identify what stats you lack or need improvement in. Then second, maybe choose stats that directly contribute to your performance in battle, such as Pdef and Ignore Pdef, rather than random stats that might only boost your battle power superficial, no? And once you have optimized your Pdef and Ignore Pdef, then you can start looking to other stats to further enhance your build. So by focusing on getting the right stats from Sacred Libra, you'll be more prepared and effective in PvP scenarios, right? Next, let's talk about another source of Ignore Pdef, which is Statue. No? The Statue provides a significant boost to Ignore Pdef. They also offer extra relic bonuses and additional enhancement that increase your overall stats. This makes Statue an essential part of your build, especially since the recent updates have added more bonuses, further increasing the Pdef of your opponents. Actually, activating Statue is pretty straightforward. Just collect and assemble all the parts. However, my advice is to upgrade even the low-level statue instead of focusing solely on one high-level statue. Maybe this approach will allow you to activate the extra relic bonus effectively. By spreading your upgrade across multiple statue, you can take advantage of additional relic bonuses, which will enhance your overall stats, including the Ignore Pdef. To be honest, the update is frustrating, but as you might already realize, the developer probably don't fully acknowledge how these changes make it even tougher for players by increasing enemy defense. For instance, it becomes even more challenging for players to keep up unless they consistently upgrade and optimize every possible sources of Ignore Pdef and other critical stats. Next source is one of the easiest to upgrade is the guild skill. Next on our list is the Nexus engine. Here, it depends on you whether you will sacrifice PvP damage to increase your Ignore Pdef. It's always situational. I highly suggest doing tests to see what works best for you. Next is the Radiant Ornament. You can get a maximum of 75 Ignore Pdef for every accessory. The advantage here is you can lock your stats by time. Perhaps you'll perfect your stats eventually. I highly suggest maybe getting at least Ignore Pdef, Pdef percentage, PvP damage bonus, and reduction. Next is Enchantment. Well, I don't really recommend locking your stats at PvP damage level 5. Maybe when you reach level 6 or 7, then maybe you can invest in Ignore Pdef and Enchantment kasi nga medyo magastos. Next is Divine Armament. Well, I know you're already familiar with this, but for weapons, you can get a maximum of 234 Ignore Pdef if you're lucky. For the last source of Ignore Pdef, it's not from raw stats but in percentage form. You can obtain it from costume, headgears, accessories, and even armors. And I'm sure that you know where to find these items or gears, no? So you can just check your items. What is the best costumes that you can use? Ignore Pdef. Maybe I'll be creating a separate video regarding that. And again guys, thank you for watching my video. If this video was helpful for you, is make sure to click the subscribe button so you can be updated on my latest uploads. And also watch my streams guys. Lagi ako nag-i-stream sa YouTube para matanong nyo ako ng mga bagay-bagay. Mas madali doon mag-explain kasi nga dito English tayo since nga na international yung mga viewers natin. So, and again guys, thank you and bye-bye.
I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh